What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the episode of Inside the Lines. My name is Joe Carson. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. Before we get into it, just want to let you guys know I will be on the NASCAR Weekly podcast on Eric Estep's channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be me, along with M&M Cup Series. We're going to join Black Flags Matter, The Iceberg, Danny B Talks, and like I said, Eric Estep. So if you guys would, make sure you tune into his channel at 8 p.m. to the podcast. We're just going to be talking about all things NASCAR. So it should be fun. But that'll be later tonight. Today we're going to have 3 to 4 stories to talk about here, including one big one coming from Bob Parker. So start off first with truck news and DGR Crossley. Tyler Akram, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who had this massive epic save on Thursday or last Thursday at Texas Motor Speedway, who came back, or Friday I should say, who came back to finish in the 3rd spot. He announced on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, that he will not be competing full-time for DGR Crossley in the Truck Series this season due to sponsorship issues. He does have some partners lined up, and I believe he might run a couple races with the team, just not as a full-time entry no more. And speaking of DGR Crossley, coming from the same camp, I believe this would be one of the replacements in the 17 car. Dylan Lupton, who last competed, I think in like 2016 or 2017 with JGL Racing, in the 28 car. He will be returning to NASCAR in the Truck Series in the 17 car, most likely at Chicagoland Speedway. And yeah, it's happy for Lupton, disappointing for Akram. Like I said, he rebounded for a 3rd place finish, the best of his career, and I think the best of that team, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's just a shame. And NASCAR, I mean, you have Akram, who is a lot more talented than Decker. Yeah, Decker's still in the car. Life's funny, ain't it? Next, we're to talk about revolves around penalties that took place from Michigan for the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series. Two penalties that came out of the Cup Series, both revolving around a lug nut, one lug nut loose, one from the 41 camp of Dana Swartz, and the other from the 37 camp of Chris Buescher. The teammates Billy Scott, and Trent Owens, respectively, have been fined a $10,000 for the penalties. In Xfinity, race winner Tyler Reddick also had a loose lug nut. His crew chief Randall Burnett was fined $5,000. And finally, Taylor J. Morse was indefinitely suspended by NASCAR for a violation of NASCAR's substance abuse policy. So he's gonna have to take the NASCAR's Road to Recovery program. I don't know who Tyler J. Morse works for, but he got suspended. So he's gonna have to take the Road to Recovery program if he wants to ever get a job back at NASCAR. Ratings for Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series came out yesterday and just a few minutes ago. First one comes from Adam Stern, who reported that FS1 earned a 1.0 overnight rating from Monday's Cup race at Michigan. Obviously no comparison due to last year not having a postponement. The top 3 markets were Richmond with a 4.4, second was Greenville with a 4.1, and then third was Charlotte with a 3.1. Tunity Analytics, which basically says that an out-of-home viewers, which I believe something that has to do with like sports bars or like airport areas where there's TV on, there's a bunch of people just walking by and really you cannot calculate it. I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but that had 558,000 out-of-home viewers. Then Kelly Crandall reported that when the race concluded around 9 p.m. Eastern Time, FS1 scored 1.5 million viewers, and that is 98% higher from the last time a Cup race was postponed, which was last month at Dover, which had only 798,000. But to be honest, at Dover it started at noon, while Michigan started at 5 p.m. So more people were able to be at home and watch the race. Then the story I kind of found interesting. It comes from the Dale Jr. Download Jr. and I forgot who the other guy was, but they both had Joe Gibbs, owner of Joe Gibbs Racing, on the podcast, and it was a pretty interesting one. I highly recommend you guys check it out. But there was one point in the podcast where they talked about Carl Edwards and how they actually talked about Gibbs and Carl were discussing his announcement for retirement. And what's funny about this is, number one, that he was in absolute shock when he announced this, just like everyone else was. But number two was the fact that even now in 2019, he still does not really have a full grasp of why Edwards retired. So yeah, maybe it has to do something deeper than that. Maybe it involves more than just, oh, I don't want to get hurt, or I want to, spend more time with my family. Maybe it involves something more than that. I don't know, but that's very interesting that when he says like he cannot share with him, like is something deeper than that. So clearly this sort of eliminates what people have been saying about, oh, this is just because of Eris. Like Eris wanted, in the car, and Joe Gibbs, I highly doubt that. People have been saying that, oh, it was Eris who made Carl Edwards retire. I highly doubt that, because even Gibbs was shocked by it. I'm pretty sure Gibbs would have known if Eris wanted Carl in the car. Gibbs wouldn't be that shocked. So yeah, that sort of eliminates that rumor. And like I said, some people have probably said that maybe because when NASCAR introduced stage racing, that probably could have pushed Edwards over the edge, saying he might have been tired of NASCAR. Some people have been referring to this clip that took place, I think, around 2012, when I believe it was Bruton Smith, said that NASCAR should just throw random cautions every now and then.
Let's just start at the beginning. Let me just lay something out here for you guys. Is it everyone in this room, is it your understanding that when they throw the green flag, right, that the only reason another flag is going to come out, like a yellow one or a red one, before that checkered flag comes out, if there's a condition on the racetrack that is unsafe to continue the race? Is that what everybody understands? If we start getting away from that and we say, okay, halfway through the race, we're going to throw a caution, we're all going to line back up. Well, now it's 2 races, where the first race doesn't even matter. Now you just got a shorter race. The lead in basketball is a figurative one. It's a score. So it's as if you stop the quarter in basketball and then you even the score. In racing, I go out there and I gain an advantage. Maybe not this track, but at most tracks, I gain a big advantage. That caution erases that advantage. It's my opinion, my humble opinion. I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but it's my opinion that takes something away from the sport.
Yeah, that's what some people have been saying. I really don't know. We probably will never know why Edwards really retired. But yeah, it was a very interesting podcast, and once again, I highly recommend you guys should check it out. Then our final story is a pretty big story. It comes from Bob Parker's that took place on June 10th. Now, a fan asked to Bob, anything a low downforce package or a little bit more than 550 horsepower down the road, like 650, just asking. And Bob Parker's responded to this by saying, NASCAR not looking to add horsepower back. It believes potential new manufacturers are more interested in a 550 horsepower package. Now, if for fans or for people like Boyer, Kyle Busch, that's not good, because they have shown their displeasure for this package. And really, if you take a look at just the driver's reaction after Michigan, it was kind of upsetting, in terms of what they had to say. I wasn't saying upset. I'm not saying upsetting because the racing was good, so it was upsetting that they didn't like it. Upsetting because the overall mood, they just did not like this package. Boyer, you could tell he wanted to say more but didn't want to get in trouble. Harvick just playing a Marshawn Lynch type move, just saying I'm here so I just don't get fined. Saying, I don't know, I just drive. Clearly, the drivers are not a fan of this package. I'm not a fan of this package, even though, yes, has it provided some good racing? Yes, but in reality, this is what it should not be for the long run. Now, NASCAR, they could be thinking of maybe doing a 550 unrestricted engine. That's a possibility, but I don't know. I don't see NASCAR doing a tapered spacer 550 horsepower for the Gen 7 car. I just cannot really see that. I don't know how I really feel about this. If you take a look at just regular production cars, the Ford Mustang, Toyota Camry, Toyota Supra, all under 400 or either 450 or below. The Camaro is the only car that has really higher than 550 horsepower. In fact, it has 650 horsepower in their latest model. But I don't know. I feel like maybe focusing more on the engine is not the way to go. I think 650 horsepower I think it's still going to be cheaper than having a 900 horsepower, which is understandable. But I think 650 is good, having unrestricted. But I think it's just more or less the total cost in general. Remember, we heard Roger Penske say that it takes 4 Indy cars to field 1 NASCAR. I think when you take a look at maybe what the manufacturers are like, they're going to spend this much money and might not be able to have a chance to get with a team. So why bother coming into NASCAR if we're going to spend this much and not be with a full, or at least be with a top team? What's the point of entering in the first place? That's why I think maybe some mindsets of some manufacturers have. I think it again revolves more around the overall cost of the car rather than just the engine. I know the engine is very important, don't get me wrong, but I just think it has less to do with the engine and more with the overall car. I think maybe if you just make it more stock, like the mid 80s, early 90s, and less hand or man-made parts, I think it could help bring in more manufacturers. That's what I think. I think if NASCAR wants to bring in more manufacturers, I think also, yes, number one, I think having a smaller engine like 650 is still pretty good, but I think also making it more stock. And when I mean more stock, I mean more stock, not just the look of the car, like actual parts came from an original manufacturer, not man-made. Yeah, have it be like just like the mid 80s, early 90s, where here we'll show some pictures right now where it wasn't completely stock, but it still featured some stock materials or some stock features. It wasn't all completely man-made until, you know, when we entered into the latter portion, like in the late 90s or 2000s, when we really started to get away from the word stock into more man-made product. And finally, and with that, I would like to bring up this little article. I actually printed this out. This comes from Matt Weaver from Auto Week, and he reported, or basically wrote a story on his opinion that this has been the unhappiest NASCAR season ever. I would just like to go over it and really just give my thoughts on it, because this is a very interesting article, and it really it's sort of the motto for the entire 2019 Cup Series season. We're gonna pick it up by we're on the second page of the part that I printed. He said there were also folks who just want to feel like actual race car drivers again. Despite pleas from certain fans, a handful of reporters, and a subset of the industry, we are not going to stop talking about the package and what it means at each individual track. In addition, its larger implications about NASCAR's future. Remember, NASCAR did say that like this is something that might be interested in with the Gen 7 package. You know, with not only maybe just keeping out 500, but also keeping the tapered spacer on. And I've been saying like this is just a band-aid. This should be just a band-aid, or just a way to get the Gen 6 car off the market. This car or this package should not be the future of NASCAR. If it is, it's gonna hurt NASCAR. I see a lot of people in the comments, they say, oh, this racing is great, is this and that, but I answered that with saying close racing does not equal good racing. You know, if you want to look at a good race, a good pure race, I look at the 2019 Indy 500 as the latest example, or Texas, 2019 Texas for IndyCar. Those were good races. With NASCAR, it's like not real racing. I can't really explain. It's not real racing. It's more manufactured, gimmicky, just unrealistic racing. Again, people like saying this racing is coming from a video game, and certainly the drivers, they were not happy. Majority of drivers, if not all, they don't like this package. I mean, Boyer doesn't like it, Harvick doesn't like it, Busch doesn't like it. I think also Truex said that he doesn't like it, and that's just the ones that either A, I can remember, or B, have publicly come out and say it. Now, and the weirdest part about that is that this race, it was actually the best Michigan race in a long time. But statistically wise, it was the best until 2015. If you take a look at a stat that Apex Off posted on social media, take a look. 2019 had 11 leaders, 20 lead changes in the entire race. However, 2015 Michigan, which was cut halfway due to rain, also had 11 leaders and only 3 less lead changes. And again, I should remind you, they stopped halfway, so they didn't really even go the full distance. And if you look even before that, 2014 when Jimmy Johnson had 13 leaders, 25 lead changes in the entire race. So clearly there was more lead changes up front in the previous packages from 2015, 2014, because it was, well, 2014 at least, it was unrestricted. That was the last time they had unrestricted engines, and you could really make passes for positions. Even though, take a look again with the quality passes, well, that was cut down because naturally the field does spread out. With the 2019 package, it keeps everyone boxed in. We saw throughout the race, everyone was separated into 4 to 5 different packs, like different groups of cars. You know, positions 1 to 4 will be in a group, 7 to 12 will be in a group. You know, so while we had closer racing, it wasn't like I said it from the beginning at the race review. I just didn't feel right. Like, it felt weird seeing this type of racing. I didn't really like it, but I didn't hate it. It was just really gimmicky, and I wasn't really a fan of it. Yeah, and it really showed that this race, like, it was sort of punishing drivers to almost make a pass, seem like, because if you try to make a pass and you didn't complete it, you lose 4 to 5 positions if you didn't complete a pass. It was sort of Daytona / Talladega type type racing, which is not good. I want to play a clip from Real Radman, who said in his Michigan preview that the reason why, you know, he does like this package, so to speak, is maybe because, you know, like I said, has Daytona and Talladega type of feel, but he doesn't want that every week, and no one should. You know, the reason why Daytona and Talladega is so well liked is because it's rare. You only go there 4 times a year. If we have 15 Daytona and Talladega, it's not going to be that fun. Take a look.
Now, what happens at Daytona when they train, or they used to train? You know, in some of the old packages, it looks like in the newer packages they won't do it as much, but in the older packages when they used to train, okay, and they trained for 50 laps. What did we all say? Was it boring? Yes, but were drivers biding their time? Yeah, they pretty much were. No driver at Michigan is basically biding their time. It's just simply the combination of the track and the package that leads to this. If I am watching, and I am a fan of put driver whoever, I don't care what driver you're a fan of, but if I'm putting driver whoever, I want that driver to be able to showcase his abilities. Showcasing your talent doesn't come in when you're riding in a line, and if you try making a pass, you get freight trained on the outside, and if you need help. We have those kind of races 4 times a year, and the reason why we like them is because they're unique and they are only 4 times a year. Daytona and Talladega, twice each year. Plate race where everyone's in this massive pack, right? 3 wide, 4 wide, and it's entertaining and exciting for 4 times a year. If we got Daytona and Talladega 10 times a year, wouldn't be as entertaining. 15 times a year wouldn't be as entertaining, because Daytona and Talladega require a different style of skill set. That's why Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Brad Keselowski, that's why they're all so good at plate races, because it requires a specific skill set. So I know that drivers can showcase their skill set at those types of tracks. Michigan doesn't do that. Now, am I saying Joey Logano doesn't have talent? No, he does. He does have plenty of talent. But Joey Logano was in a different car. He wasn't going to win that race. If you put Joey Logano in a Chevy, he wasn't going to win that race. No, it's not happening. Isn't this what all NASCAR fans complain about F1? They complain about F1 because, oh, Lewis Hamilton's in a Mercedes, and Mercedes is the best car, so the driver doesn't. Well, guess what? Your sport's basically turning into that.
And like I said, he does have a point. I mean, like, I cannot really be a fan of it. Like, it's very gimmicky, again, which is one reason why I don't like it. Don't get me wrong, there have been some good races, like Charlotte, Kansas, the All-Star race, a couple of examples there, but I just cannot see this being the future of NASCAR, having a taper spacer with 550 horsepower and high downforce. I just cannot see this being the future of NASCAR. We're going to continue on with this article. He also then goes on to mention that this package debate is going nowhere on a weekly basis because one side is trumping the virtues of entertainment while the other is laminating the loss of sporting integrity. There is no middle ground with this formula, as one has been sacrificed in exchange for the other. And it's true. I mean, this package is meant to entertain. Again, NASCAR, they want closer racing. NASCAR is still in the mindset of entertainment. Now, NASCAR's president, Steve Phelps, he says that, we made some mistakes. We're no longer going to chase that casual fan. I don't believe it, because if so, we wouldn't have playoffs, we wouldn't have stage racing, and we wouldn't have this package if they weren't trying to cater to a casual fan. I still think they are. This package is meant for entertainment, which is going to piss off one side of fans and favor another side of fans. Need to have sort of like a middle ground. There's no middle ground, like I read in this article. There's no middle ground with this package. Either you hate it or you love it, and every week it's just going to be butting heads. At least with last year's package, it was heavily criticized around all sides. But when times it was good, everyone enjoyed it. Remember, Chicagoland. Before Chicagoland, everyone hated that package. However, after Chicagoland last year, everyone loved the race. The second half of the 2018 season was actually pretty good. And everyone really enjoyed the second half of the season. But with this year, you're never going to get, not a middle ground, but you're never going to get a majority vote on whether people enjoy this package or not. And that's the sad part, because this whole season, you're just going to be butting heads. Drivers are pissed off. Half of the fan base are pissed off. Half of the fan base probably enjoyed this racing. Everyone is just clashing with each other, and that's going to be the main problem. That's going to be the motto for this entire season, is just butting heads, just clashing with each other. Should this package be in NASCAR? Should this package be the future of NASCAR? And it's one side, it shows how really disorganized the sport is as a whole. I mean, when no one can really agree on something. And then I think it sort of confirms what I'm about to say, that NASCAR, they still don't know who they're trying to cater to. Near the end of this article, it says in the process, or it says later on in the end of this article, he points out how NASCAR, they still don't know who they're trying to chase for. NASCAR officials are in a thankless, inevitable position these days. They have spent so long this decade trying to ensure a four-way championship tie each season, green flag race ending shootouts, and pack racing throughout the field, that there comes a point where the fan base becomes unstable. In the process, NASCAR has lost its identity and is struggling to find itself in 2019. That breeds discontent from all corners of the industry and threatens to tear it apart in the coming years. Ask the IndyCar community how the story ends. That is why this weekly narrative shouldn't be taken lightly. It's not sustainable. If those who work in the highest level aren't having fun, how are the fans supposed to find joy each week? And yeah, like I said, if drivers aren't happy about it and are annoyed with this package, how are you going to expect the fans to be happy? Now, don't get me wrong, there are still some fans that like this package, but look on social media, there's still a lot of fans that hate this package and agree with the drivers. Some people view Kyle Busch as a voice of reason somewhat, which is kind of shocking nowadays, but if you take a look, whenever Kyle Busch says something about the package, just go look in the comments. Everyone praising Kyle Busch. Yes, this package sucks. Package is awful. Yeah, you have some people saying, no, this package is good. Package is good. No, yes, da 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 da. And it just explodes into just controversy. And then you have reporters, like for example Fox and NBC. They're sort of praising this package, yet drivers, they're disowning this package. And they're in NASCAR. They're in a weird place right now in 2019. They still don't know who they're trying to cater to in 2019 because, again, with this package, who's it supposed to cater to? If it's supposed to cater to traditional race fans, it's not doing its job. And even if it's supposed to cater to casual racing fans, it's somewhat doing the job, but not completely. Some even casual fans not like this package. But overall, I mean, this is NASCAR. The next 3 years is going to be very, very important to see where is NASCAR heading to in 2019, 2020, and 2021. With 2020, we have a new schedule going to come out. We don't know what the package is going to be for 2020. That's something we don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the same package as this year or if they're going to add a bit more horsepower into it. We're not sure. 2021 is just going to be a whole nother story to talk about later. But with NASCAR announcing that they're not looking to add horsepower back, that could be worrisome for a lot of people. But yeah, overall, I mean, I sort of agree with Matt Weaver. This has been the unhappiest NASCAR season, at least that I've ever been to, because at least in previous years, we could all agree on something. The fans could all agree. The drivers could all agree on something that the package needed help from last year. Nowadays, we don't even know what is a good package now. A lot of fans hate it. A lot of fans like it. A lot of drivers hate it. Some drivers that might like it. For example, Chris Buescher, he might like this package because he's getting shots at top 10 almost every week. But yeah. But what do you guys think about this package? Do you hate it? Do you like it? Do you think that NASCAR no longer potentially adding horsepower from now on? Is this going to be a good idea? Do you think NASCAR should go back to, or maybe should add 650 horsepower? I really would like to know your comments in the comment section down below. But yeah, once again, guys, we're probably going to talk about this article and more on the NASCAR Weekly podcast later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Me and M&M Cupsters were guest hosting with Erica Stepp on Erica Stepp's channel with Black Flags Matter, Danny B Talks, and the Iceberg at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you guys go ahead and check it out. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Again, tell me in the comments, what do you guys think of any of the stories that I have told you in this episode. But until next time, I'm Jack Ross from NASCAR on MDK, and I throw this Rubik's Cube up in the air. Shit. I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, I think I broke it. No.